Remember when we found out that Kamala was rated the most liberal senator in the country, and then the consensus was that she had to pick a moderate to balance out the ticket? Right. Then she picked a guy who put tampons in the boys' bathrooms. So Tampon Tim goes to #1 on trending. A natural response to such a radical pick. And I mean, when this Minnesota state representative made this compelling point, Walz had no choice but to add tampons to the boys' bathroom. Take a look.
First, there are a lot of schools that are moving towards gender-neutral bathrooms. And if we add female, we might become obsolete very quickly. Second, not all students who menstruate are female. We need to make sure that all students have access to these products. There are obviously less non-female menstruating students, and they're...
Make it stop.
You can know how far left this guy is when you learn that he was Bernie Sanders' top choice. Whoever is Sanders' first choice, I think we can all agree that they would be our last choice. Walz is basically if Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders had a child and then put it through mandatory DEI training for 60 years. It's either that or if you order Joe Biden from Alibaba Express. Walz got the nomination in the most scripted phone call that I'd ever seen since Obama's endorsement of Kamala. Like, why did they show the part of Kamala checking to see if the video is being recorded before she makes the call? It's just kind of blatant. But let's really get into this guy's record, starting off with the fact that he willingly allowed his city to go up in flames, despite his mayor begging for the National Guard. Listen to this.
I will speak the truth. And the truth is that on Wednesday, around 6 p.m., I called the governor and asked for the National Guard.
Text messages and emails from the mayor's office for Wednesday, May 27th back that up.
Don't worry though, businesses were destroyed and looted, but at least Democrats took a knee, which ultimately builds businesses back. Rioting got so bad throughout the country that business owners actually put out signs just begging for people to not burn their businesses down. But this is what Walz had to say in response to the riots.
A society that does not put equity and inclusion at the center of it is certainly going to eventually come to the places where we're at. This is a moment of inflection. It's a moment of real change. It's a moment that those folks who are out there demanding this are not going to take a commission or a report. They're going to want fundamental change. And that is what I think, that's one of the exciting things in the midst of all this. You can feel a sense of optimism coming back.
This is not Iraq, this is Minnesota under Walz. So I guess it's true that Kamala and Walz do make a great team because he lets the city burn to the ground and she pays to get the rioters out. But let's check in with the voters on what they think about Walz.
He used to be what I'd call a middle-of-the-road Democrat. Now he's a straight-up socialist.
Let's continue with this all-star's resume. He signed an abortion bill into law, allowing abortion to take place until the moment of birth for any reason whatsoever. He then thought instead of fixing the homeless problem in his state or incentivizing people to start small businesses, he just went ahead and made it easier for illegal immigrants to get a driver's license.
It's done.
A packed room at the St. Paul Armory erupted after the governor's signature made driver's license for all the law of the land.
Wanting to show off his new law in action, he said this on Anderson Cooper's show.
I always say, let me know how high it is. If it's 25 feet, then I'll invest in the 30-foot ladder factory. That's not how you stop this.
Yeah, it's true. I want to give you the full context. He did talk about this being in response to if Trump finished the wall, that, he's going to start building 30-foot ladder factories. But this isn't Lord of the Rings. People aren't going to actually buy 25-foot or 30-foot ladders. That's just not going to happen. But that clip did serve as an audition tape to get on Kamala Harris's ticket, and it worked. After Josh Shapiro tried to unjew himself by apologizing for his pro-Israel views, the radical leftist here was able to swoop in and stand by the candidate that no one voted for. What an honor. Walz really especially appeals to the pro-Hamas vote here in America. You see him taking these pictures with Ilhan Omar, and they bonded over things like socialism and Somalia.
One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness.
Here's Walz replacing his flag with one that resembles Somalia. So Kamala hijacked Biden's YouTube channel and kicked off her rally with Walz. Everything about it just seems so fake. This point he makes to the top, and Kamala is like, oh yeah, I should point to, that's something I've seen Obama do as well. Then Walz either pulled a Biden and forgot what his wife looked like, or he just knowingly shook hands with his wife. For those that are married watching this, have you ever thought to shake your wife's hand like this? What on earth even is that? And why is Doug like warming up to kiss Kamala? The whole thing just felt so weird. And of course they think that Vance is weird. They just won't stop talking about it.
You know it, you feel it. These guys are creepy, and yes, just weird as hell. That's what you see.
Walz issued an executive order ensuring that Minnesota children may obtain irreversible transgender surgeries and sterilizing hormone treatments, which proponents call gender-affirming care. So the guy with 3 kids is weird, but the one transitioning kids is normal. Okay, got it. Walz actually had children march in an LGBTQ parade. What a monster, honestly. Now, the funniest thing about a VP pick is that literally 3 seconds after you're picked, people find out that you stole a Kit Kat bar in 2nd grade. But the more serious drama also comes out, like Tim Walz enlisted in the Nebraska National Guard at the age of 17 in 1981. He then transferred to the Minnesota National Guard in 1996 and served until his retirement in 2005. Sounds perfectly fine so far. But you're going to want to listen to what one of the leaders said from the Minnesota National Guard. Take a look.
He abandoned us. I mean, what the hell kind of leader does that? I mean, he just, as soon as the shots were fired in Iraq, he turned and ran the other way and hung his hat up and quit.
So you try to get this message out, but Minnesota's largest newspaper checks it out, says it's 100% true, but yet refuses to print.
When I hung the phone up, I said, what the hell is this, North Korea?
Back in 2005, a warning order went out to the 1st Battalion, 125th Field Artillery to mobilize for a mission to Iraq. At the time, Walz served as the unit's highest non-commissioned officer, but months later, Walz would retire from the Guard, avoid the deployment, and run for Congress.
So now imagine what J.D. Vance is going to do to this guy in a debate, being someone who actually did serve in Iraq. Walz is going to want to just drive away from the debate, but he has a habit of driving a little bit too quickly. He drove 96 miles an hour in a 55 mile an hour zone, and to make things worse, he had a drink as well. But he's the one that beat everybody else on the short list, which is pretty amazing if you might ask me. I guess everybody else was somehow worse. But all of that is just motivation for people to give Harris and Walz more money, because now it's going to be a closer race. So Ben Stiller has entered the ring. Have a look.
I just want to let you know I'm going to match your $150,000 donation. Everybody's got to get out and vote and donate. And she's also a historic candidate. You know, it's going to be the first woman president, and that's incredibly exciting. And, you know, she's Indian, she's Black, she's everything. You can be more than one thing. It's incredible. You know, I'm Jewish and Irish. I wish I was Black. Every white Jewish guy wishes he was Black.
That was honestly so strange. I just don't get it. But I guess at least Walz's friends right now are losing in Congress. There's like a bingo game that you can play where members of the squad, you can just cross them out as they get elected out of office. It's pretty enjoyable. But I will leave you with imagining 4 years of this.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening.